So I'm thinking about producing one Fraternicons video a week. Does anyone have any objections? Also, I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who upvoted my comments on the ShowZStore. The outpouring of support was amazing. And if I've done my math right, and I didn't misunderstand how the whole thing worked, you guys would have given me over $300 by all the upvotes you gave me, which is absolutely incredible. Problem is, I did misunderstand a bit. The rules are that only the first comment you make a day can get the store credit from comments. The vast majority of the comments I made were from the same day, so most didn't count towards any store credit. Whoops, my bad. If you are interested after this in helping the show out, I've made some new comments once per day for the last several days. I'll put a link in the description to the new comments. Only bother upvoting anything on the first page. The rest of it would just be pointless. I'll keep posting a comment a day on the ShowZStore and just bring it up every now and then for as long as they give store credit for upvotes. And I want to stress that even though it didn't result in nearly as much store credit as it could have, thank you so much, you guys. It really made me feel appreciated to see all the support. Anyways, on to the figure. Mechanical Alliance Thunder Warrior, or not Blitzwing. I bought this in the hopes that I'd be able to tell you to support the underdog rather than the Zeta version of the character. And while I don't have the Zeta version, I can tell you whether or not this one is good enough to get on its own and let that inform your decision on which to buy, if you're planning on getting either one. So we are starting off in alt mode today for reasons that will become apparent later. Let me just say this here and now. This is the correct jet mode. People were confused when I said the Studio Series Bumblebee Blitzwing had the wrong jet mode, and this is what I meant by that. The wings are located on the correct part of the plane. It's got the right nose cone. Cockpit is correct. The intakes are not the pathetic vestiges of what they should be. And the tail doesn't have 4 fins. But something you might also notice is how this thing is absolutely bursting at the seams. This is the best I could get this alt mode to look, and I'm grateful to even get it this far. Originally, the entire wing section of the plane wouldn't clip in, and after about 2 hours of finagling over 3 different days, I was finally able to get it popped into place, which caused it to split all over the top side of the plane. This thing is positively vibrating with the desire to explode out of its shell like a fat man in a child's shirt. It quivers with potential energy as the robot strains to escape its all too small confines, which is hilarious to say because this thing is absolutely huge. Honestly, it scales kind of realistically with a certain yellow car. And another nice thing about it is how the missiles do detach, though I had to do a whole lot to make them 1/100th as grimy as they were, and the rest of the armatures attaching them don't come off, so they get in the way during transformation. The whole mode seems kind of bloated, like it's just a bit puffier than it should be. It reminds me of those fairground inflatable mallets you get for winning a ring toss or something. It also has what I have been reliably informed is called an oil wash to make the plane look dirty. I am on record for liking Siege's battle damage, but I gotta be honest here, I hate this. It makes the plane look like you spilled something on it, and it comes off all over your hands, especially during transformation, leaving you feeling disgusting. I cleaned it off as best I could with some white spirits as I was told that was how to do it, and that worked a bit, but this stuff was really on there and eventually I just gave up. Why is this one part back here completely off color to the rest of it? The landing gear are also terrible. They don't roll, and if you give it any pressure in any direction, they just collapse. Anyways, I'm fully prepared to say that the alt mode's problems holding together are on me, but that doesn't change the fact that the finish is disgusting, the landing gear don't work, and the connections are tenuous at best. Like, it takes no effort to pop the wings out of place and a lot of effort to put them back. This basically all stems from the nightmare of an experience this thing calls its transformation. Dear God, this sucks. It's not the worst I've ever handled, but it's so panel heavy. The tolerances are bad, and it's like the designers never heard of parts clearance. Nothing likes pegging in because the ports are too shallow, and they just want to flex back out immediately, probably due to the oil wash, which might be acting like a lubricant. Now you see why I started this in plane mode this time, because going from robot to plane would have been a hellish undertaking on camera. I spent days just getting it to this point without the camera between me and what I'm doing. No thank you. I mean, look at this spaghetti mess I can't even be bothered trying to hold up on camera. The legs are especially bad, forming out of basically nothing but panels, and I'm positive I did it wrong, but at this point, I don't care. This sucks and I'm done with it. If I'm being generous, this is like a 3 out of 10 on the fun scale in terms of transformation, and that's definitely me being way too nice to this. After that pain and anguish, the ultimate result is a pretty good not Blitzwing, not Starscream. Now pardon me while I go wash my hands in an industrial degreaser. Anyways, yes, this looks quite good, and once again, it's huge. Towering over most masterpiece scale Transformers, most of this guy's height is concentrated in his way too long legs, with his comically short torso on top of his positively pencil-thin thighs. For the most part, it still looks great though. He is the spitting image of the movie Blitzwing on stilts. He's got the correct wings, the chest, the lanky, heavy-looking arms with the creepy, fully articulated, stabby hands with short palms, and that face. It's kinda hard to make out any details on it, like the sculpting seems fantastic, but the covers just devour all the info. But it can do this, and it came with batteries installed, so that's rad. Why would I ever want light piping when this is an option? And he also can do this. I hate it. Normally I don't like it when the Transformers have weird inhuman faces, but this is too far in the other direction. He looks like an elderly Japanese CEO. Fun fact, while writing this, one of the tabs that pegs the mask into the face snapped off because it was tiny. Now I'm going to have to glue the mask on. So add breakable to this figure's list of sins. He comes with his big ugly handgun and his stabby claw that came bent in the packaging. Posability on this guy is pretty good, though the head can't look up at all, a feature desperately needed on a flyer. The arms have more range than normal, but no real joint advantage. However, they are given way more life with the advanced hands. These really add a lot to the dynamic nature of his posing. It's honestly amazing just how much these do for him. Knees have more range in their posability than normal as well, though once again, no added joints that punch it up an extra notch. Though the stomach kibble is jointed to get out of the way. The feet do, however, have more joints than the typical siege figure, though that is of limited use because the way the toes work leaves the front of the foot completely unsupported, which is different to say the least, because it's normally the back of the foot with that problem. His wings are also designed to be very mobile, with a hinge and a ball joint, but they are insanely loose, so they barely hold themselves in any position. In fact, that's kind of a major problem this guy has overall. It's really hard getting this guy standing and keeping him standing because of how loose he is. The feet are loose, the knees are loose, the back is loose. And it doesn't even make sense because the knees were clearly supposed to be ratcheted, but they're not. They're just pathetically weak friction joints that can't handle the crushing weight of this admittedly heavy figure. He looks good, and if you can get him into a pose where he's stable, provided nothing bumps him, he will probably be able to hold it, but it's at such a tenuous level it makes me worry. Like a 1.0 earthquake could knock him over if he doesn't just give out on his own. And let me be fair, it is entirely possible that it's just my copy of the figure that has these bad QC issues in the legs, but I doubt that's the case. And while maybe this is not representative of the normal from this company, I have no way of knowing. The only one I have is like this. There is good to like here. He looks great in robot mode. He'd look pretty great in jet mode too if it weren't for his issues holding together. He poses decently. There isn't a joint I'm begging for on him, other than maybe some upwards tilt on the head. The light up feature looks nice, works well, and it came turned on in the package, so while I have no way of knowing how long it was on, it's fair to say that it was at least a while because it was hours before I got it off my porch, and the package didn't take any hard knocks after that before I opened it up. The paint job is fantastic, if still disgusting, and it's not all that expensive for a Masterpiece style figure. It's $135, which is well within the realm of reason when official Masterpieces are like 3 to 4 at this point. You can buy like 3 of him for one Masterpiece 3.0 Optimus Prime, and this transformation is still probably less of a ball ache than his. But I can't put the weight of my recommendation behind this, and believe me, I hate doing that. This is a small company just starting out, and what they did produce is still somewhat impressive. So I don't want to drive away business from them while they are just beginning to get on their feet. They didn't rip me off, they didn't cheat me in any way, and the result is very close to being fun. But it just doesn't quite get there, at least with my copy. I will not warn you away from this. It's not something you need to avoid, but I can't recommend it. And that's not as bad as it sounds. If I recommend something, it's because I think everyone will love it. If I don't, that doesn't mean that I think people can't or won't love it. It's just that I don't want to convince you to spend money on something you might not love. If this looks good to you now, you will probably like it. I like it. I just have problems with it. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And I know you know what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you'll enjoy listening to me waste your time.